Right.
Right now.
Hello, everyone. We're just beginning now, so we're just letting people in. You should be able to hear us quite clearly. So one of the big things that we've been doing over the last few weeks is basically getting very excited about the future for AFC Wimbledon and what the potentials are. Now, a group of us, that's myself, Adam, Matthew Cooper and Mark Lewis, went and spoke to a number of people, and we drew up a very rough idea about the potential of various different things that we like the idea of the Dons Trust going in the direction of. Obviously, we also, despite speaking to numerous experts and different people, we freely admitted that we weren't coming out with the precise and the perfect answer to everything. So we set up this series of talks, and this is the fourth one, to kind of look and pull in the people that we think have got an extra insight to help look and give a view about where everything can go and what direction it can lead to. Luckily, as part of this talk, the Dons Trust have been great, and they are listening to and recording all of these talks and taking it in as part of their consultation for their strategic review. So we're really chuffed that we've got them heavily involved in all this, and it is a kind of an open debate. And as I said, it's not like the people behind the yellow and blue are putting their hands up and saying we're the experts, but we want to learn. We want the club to move in the best direction possible. So this is the fourth of the series, and we're going to be looking very much at a community and where the community can fit in to AFC Wimbledon and the future that it holds. So with that, I'm absolutely delighted to have two great representatives who can talk about that with us today. We have Stephen Ambritus, who is the leader of Merton Council. If I pronounce your surname correctly? I should know that, really. Right, well, that's a good job. He's also not just the leader of Merton Council, he's the former head of public affairs at the Federation of Small Businesses and a former commissioner at the Disability Rights Commission. So he's not just have that expertise of being leader of Merton Council, but there's a lot of stuff behind that which will be really useful to hear about. Obviously, for most Wimbledon fans, we have Xavier Wiggins, who anybody who's been a regular at AFC Wimbledon or Wimbledon before that, if they haven't heard him shout and holler throughout those years, would be an immense surprise. But for most people, he's now perhaps most renowned as being the co-founder of the Dons Local Action Group, which has been an absolutely phenomenal success within the local community. And there's small rumours that Zav may well have had some sleep in the last 6 months, but I think that's probably going to be denied by Zav because he's been flat out. So that's it. That's the introductions from them. I mean, Stephen and Zav, if there's anything else you'd like to add before we can go a bit further. Stephen, anything else apart from my introductions that we can talk about from that?
He's on mute.
Stephen, you're on mute.
There you go. Can you hear me now? Yes?
Yeah, we can hear you, Stephen.
Okay, yeah, just great to be here. I am so pleased with the club, its professionalism, despite the fact that one could say it's fan-owned and it's volunteer and it's amateur, but the professionalism with which you've approached council over the years since your intention to come back to Plough Lane, and that honest working relationship, that no surprises policy you've had in your relationship with the council has made it easier for the council to be of help to you. And I don't know any leader of a council in the UK that wouldn't want a football club named after a major town in its authority not to have a stadium in that authority. So I'm really chuffed for you, pleased for you, and the icing on the cake is the Dons Local Action Group. It's proven to us that you are a real community football club, and we're very much looking forward to you coming back to the borough.
Brilliant. Before I go to Zav, I'm just going to hand over to Dominic, who's just coming in. Dominic's going to take over chairing for us. So over to you, Dominic. I haven't introduced, Zav hasn't introduced himself yet, Dominic. So over to you to take over the chairing, and Adam and I will be monitoring on the Q&A and the chat. So obviously, if you want to put a question in, and just put in the Q&A, and we'll filter that through without a problem, and we'll be keeping an eye on the chat as well. So Dominic, over to you. Dominic, you're on mute. Oh, he's fiddling away on his camera.
Unmute.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, okay. Are we going now? Are we live now? Oh,
yes.
I'm unmuted.
Yeah,
are we
we're all
live
good
now?
Yes, we are. Dominic, thanks.
Okay, okay. Right, okay. Yeah. So, well, just welcome everyone, really. So, I've got a little script here, so I'm going to be absolutely honest that this was a little bit short notice for me. So I take it, I'll read out the script. So, this session has been recorded. The Web Dons Trust Manifesto outlines expected behaviour for this event, and we ask that during the floor section of the event that people can ask to speak by raising their digital hand. I will then call on those people. Please do not make any comments that attack or are derogatory or abusive, and I would also ask you to be brief and to stay on topic. If you make any adverse comments or such, you'll be muted, reported and removed. You can also make comments via the Q&A function. Chat is disabled. All Q&A goes to the panel and host first and will be shared. If the content is again attacked, derogatory, abusive or spam, this will be deleted and you will be reported and removed from the meeting. I welcome all that are attending this afternoon. I'm very much look forward to this. They've been very enjoyable in the past. This is not an official Dons Trust Board event. However, we are pleased members of the board are here to listen and are welcome to ask questions. We will start with the Yellow and Blue representative who will explain the proposal for tonight, point 10. We have then invited experts in this area to provide challenges and commentary to the proposal. Participants can also at any time put a question, comment into the Q&A function, which will be vetted before visible and going to chair to ask. By 5:30 p.m. at the latest, we will open the floor to anyone listening who wants to ask a question or to put across their point of view on the proposal. Remind everyone they can indicate during this time that you want to speak. They can still use Q&A function as well. Yellow and Blue representative will have 3 to 5 minutes discussion. Can you outline the point for the discussion and the reasoning we put this in the 10-point plan?
Right. So Dominic, I'm going to do that. And thanks so much for jumping in. So for those who don't know, we had to change the chair at the last minute. Dominic literally got messages from me about 5 minutes ago. So I apologise for dropping you.
No, that's okay.
So obviously, and Stephen's been introduced, so we don't need to worry about that. We do need to get Xav in a minute in terms of his role, but I'm just going to really briefly talk about obviously we think community is really important, and being embedded in the local community is going to be key to our success and to ensure that ongoing relationship with the council and the local businesses and the local schools is really, really important. But it's got to be a positive contribution, not just on a Saturday afternoon, but throughout our time, in the week and around the stadium. So we obviously want people to come and help us to think about that, and to also maybe, challenge some of that and say, what can we do better with the community? What can we do as this kind of fresh start, and how do we take advantage of that, and will that enable us to not only be competitive, but also attractive to young fans, attractive to businesses, attractive to the borough or for the borough even. So that's one of these things, and we obviously have invited people that know more about that than us to try and discuss it. But again, we would really encourage people to use the Q&A function, not just for questions, but also for discussion. So if there's any comments they want to hear from the panelists or around the idea, then this is an opportunity to do it. And I see we're getting a few things coming in already, which we'll put through. And obviously Dominic will ask some questions, but again, you guys can just talk about some of the things you want to see a club do, and the things you think is working well and how we could do better. That would be something that then will help the Don's Trust board to think about how they embed that in the work with the PLC, with the foundation, all those kind of things. So yeah, that's why we think this is important.
Okay.
Okay, Zav.
Yeah. So many of you will have come across Don's Local Action outside supermarkets or online, social media, etc. But just to kind of clarify what Don's Local Action looks like at the moment. So we are we work around 5 pillars. Food poverty is a very important one. Environment and surroundings is our second one. Mentoring is one that we will be getting started shortly. Sports, where we work very closely with the foundation, and then community request, which is as and when that things like Keep Kids Connected come into that. So we've distributed 35,000 one-week food boxes since the 21st of March to people in Merton, Wandsworth and Kingston. I think we're on about 830, 840 laptops and devices. We're getting very active with furniture. So some people that just don't, you know, who have been referred to us who are desperately in need of just basic furniture. So we're getting very active there. On the food front, we collect all the food outside supermarkets. We take it back to the hub, which Kappa on Plough Lane have very kindly let us use one of their warehouses at the back, which is brilliant. And we move into the football club when the football club is ready. So we will have a pretty unusual thing of this fantastic community football club with its own food hub in it, and I think that's really fitting. We are. I mean, my personal feeling is that we can be the best community football club in the country, and I think we should strive for that. That's what motivates many of us on Don's Local Action. There are many non-football fans on Don's Local Action as well, but that's our starting point. And I think that everything else, as Stephen said earlier, in terms of businesses in the borough being very close to us, we've got so many partnerships that we're building with schools, with through the foundation's great work as well. So yeah, we're now going from COVID response transitioning into a permanent entity, and we'll be here as needed. As long as we have the volunteers, we'll be here as needed for the long term.
I see that we've also, Zav, involved a lot of people that are not supporting the club, the football club. Is that right? Which is absolutely fantastic.
I'll give you a little example, actually. It's probably the easiest way to describe it. So when the club shop opened in Centre Court, they were looking for volunteers. I did a shout out to the WhatsApp groups, and we got 28 people coming back saying yes, they'd love to help. And half of them were Wimbledon fans. Half of them just wanted to help because they now know and understand what Wimbledon is in the community, and they want to help the wider club, not just specifically and directly Don's Local Action. So it's great to hear all these people say, I've never been to a football match in my life, and I'm coming to Plough Lane. It's really exciting as a big Wimbledon fan to be talking to people out on the stores. It's really positive.
Have the media also taken to this, would you say? I mean, I know we've tried to push it. I just wonder what the media's view on this. Do they have a view or? Yeah,
we've not had our next, we're having a media push soon again, but first time around, I mean, they were calling us. We didn't have a PR team in place then, we do now. But yeah, we were on BBC, ITV, most main newspapers, Channel News Asia. There was all sorts. So yeah, pretty prolific.
And you think we can sustain this? Can you? Do you think in 5 years' time, or let's go ahead? I mean, what's your real vision, say in 3 to 5 years' time, regarding our community work? I mean, how far could we really push that and make a mark across the UK?
It's never really bothered me in one sense whether we have 50, 500 or 5,000 volunteers, and whether we do 1,000 boxes or 5,000 boxes a week or whatever it is doesn't really bother me in that sense. I just want us to have to give as much help as we possibly can with the number of volunteers that we have. So we're constantly looking for volunteers. We're trying to create a culture where even with people that have been on Don's Local Action but they're going back to work, right? We're trying to get rid of this idea of leavers. We want people to think, right, I'm going back to work, but maybe I can give 3 hours a week or 3 hours a fortnight. And it doesn't need to be standing outside a shop, but it could be driving, it could be mentoring. We're building a fantastic mentoring group to go and help those in our community that just would need some guidance on certain things. So yeah, the vision, I'd like very much for it to evolve into something UK wide and sport local action. I've talked about that before. That would really be a case of just sharing good practice, sharing process with other groups. If there's Wigan Rugby League fans and they've, and they can mobilise because they feel an attachment to Wigan, and they can go and do good stuff up there, and they can learn about what we've done. We can learn about what Manchester City do and things, and just create this network to push beyond our boroughs. That would be hugely exciting. It all requires volunteers and help and time, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We've got a bit of a pathway, and it's at the moment we're just going through that. COVID response. Lots of organisations were set up very quickly without necessarily having processes in place that are needed. And now we're doing our growing up very quickly because we want to fall under the foundation as their volunteer army, as the PDF said, and so we're working hard on the processes now.
What I really love about that work that's being done is that it all builds into our ethos and our fans together, our fan ownership model. Do you feel that is very much the case? And yeah, I mean, it's great if we're reaching out to the community, building something different. I mean, how many other football clubs in the UK are doing this type of work that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, there are many doing. I live in Hampton, even Hampton and Richmond.
I'm aware of Richmond, but I'm not aware of a football club in Richmond.
Well, no, Hampton and Richmond Borough did their own food bank as a little example. That was hugely important locally. So there are lots of clubs doing stuff. Tooting and Mitcham were doing it. That was great. They're not now, but
Can I just come in?
Yeah.
If I can just come in, the question of is this the only club? It's the only club that's doing so much, doing a lot. It was timely, and it's continued, and it's used every. So I meet all the leaders of all the councils in London, and they all talk about Don's Local Action Group. So yes, of course, all clubs doing their best, but this one is in the community, is serious, is making a fundamental difference to the council's approach to COVID.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, no, totally agree, and thank you. A lot of people talk about definitions of success, and as Wimbledon fans, we do a lot of soul searching, lots of tough questions, particularly at the moment on structure and things. And part of the reason that this group has been set up is to look at who we are. But for me, it's quite simple. My definition of success for Wimbledon is to be a fantastic community football club, and in one way, I'm not that bothered if that fantastic community football club is in League One, the Premiership, or the Conference. I just want us to be brilliant at what we do in the community.
and those are very, very sort of noble ideals. Yeah, of course, we just, yeah, that's great. I just feel that we just need to, it's wonderful. We need to build upon it, build something really unique. But yeah, we've got a fantastic story. AFC Wimbledon, you know, what the club has achieved over the last 18 years, and to try and integrate now, obviously with the new stadium, the impact that's going to have across, you know, branching out into Balham, Wandsworth, all of that. We've got all of this now, this larger community that we can now embrace. Yeah, I mean, that's, we just need to build upon that. Oh, sorry, we need to excuse me. But yeah, I mean, sorry about that. Stephen, can I ask you? I mean, what do you think?
Can I just come in?
Yeah, please do. Please tell me.
If I can just come in on, Dominic, if I can just come in on keep kids connected. I mean, a lot of kids have not gone to school for a long time, working from home, their parents, and this urgent need for them to connected through the internet. And Mitcham in particular, Don's local action through Keep Connected has gone to the heart of the issue. The local member of parliament for Mitcham, Siobhan McDonough, has pleaded with the government to provide laptops, mobile phones to keep connected. And the local, as local action group, has worked on that as well. So it's not just about food parcels, about connecting with people, about helping the elderly, helping those who are shielded. The Donslow Action Group extended its offer, its services, and above all that, when the schools were so much and the kids were so much, and the deprived part of the borough, as we all know, Richmond Morden, and that's where Kids Connected has been working superlatively. So, you know, Don's local action group has diversified. It's an operation that has seen the problem and gone in where there are problems. So, but as I said, you know, do the media know about Don's local action group? Do the media know about AFC Wimbledon? Do the media know of the story of AFC Wimbledon? You bet they do. And I have no more connections to this story than anyone else, but it's Barcelona element, you know, that you have been out of the league, come back, and at the testing time for this country, you've come and helped the community through Don's local act group. So well done to you, and I hope that all gets good questions from the fans. And as you said, is it fans? No, it's not AFC. I'm not a foot in AFC Wimbledon.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
That's where I was brought up from 1967. Johnny Haynes. My heart, my club is Fulham. But boy, is second love AFC Wimbledon.
Stephen, can I just ask you a question? I just want, also I'd like to know, how do you think businesses are reacting to? Is there a way that we can involve? You know, what's your view of us being an attraction to businesses? I mean, I've heard of corporate social responsibility. Is that something? Do you think business at what we're doing, could that catch a light and for us to get more involvement with businesses? Could you hear me, Stephen? Can you hear me?
I didn't get that question.
Stephen, the question is, how can we get businesses more involved? And do you think businesses are warming to AFC Wimbledon?
No, I'm not hearing.
You're not hearing that.
Dominic?
Yes, Zav. Perhaps you could answer that question?
I'll try, because I think Stephen's got some sound issues with it being in the airport. So just one really exciting way that started to show itself with Don's Local Action is I'm regularly getting contact now from companies saying, we've got 150 staff, we allow them volunteering time, we are encouraging them to look at Don's Local Action to do their volunteering time with you. And we're getting more and more those approaches now. So, and that's, you know, we need that. So that's a very tangible way that local businesses can be involved with the football story.
I've just typed the question to Stephen as well. So Dominic, also, just so you know, the chat is available for us. I've typed the question to Stephen.
The question is about business.
Yeah.
And their approach to AFC Wimbledon come back to the borough. There's that whole stretch of Hayes Road, and those businesses have been struggling over the years, certainly since Plough Lane, the original, was closed down. So all that stretch of Hayes Road will benefit from the footfall, but also the whole area of the council, Wimbledon Park. We'll see what copycat tactics. That is, people a piece of the action. They want to be where there is something happening, and there's nothing more exciting. Floodlights, a football match, noise, crowds when they do come back. So businesses are keen to be pub landlord. They're keen to do catering for the club. They're keen to be around burger bars, all kinds of food. And I remember when following these plastics with bottles on a freezing day. But yes, I think businesses will climb up to the potential. But do want some of the action, and for Hayden's Road will be a boost, and for Wimbledon Park and near Road, all those areas.
Dominic, you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see we're approaching nearly 5:30. Yeah, whether we should open this up now to questions in the Q&A.
Yeah, we got quite a few, Dominic. I know. So again, I apologise because, you know, me throwing you in there. So there's some stuff in the chat, and that's just panelists, and there's some stuff in the Q&A. I guess one of them that was probably easy was that. So one of the questions, this was Stephen, was how he sees our role in Merton, and what else would Merton want us to do for them. So hopefully Stephen heard that, and I'll try and unmute him.
If you can type the question for me quickly,
yeah,
just
no
repeat
worries.
the question.
I will type it into the chat now.
No, I can't. Yeah.
So if anyone hadn't realised, Stephen's in an airport, not in England, and it's really noisy. So I've sent him the message, so he'll be able to reply, and I'll unmute him now. There we go. Okay, so he's now got it.
So the role of the local authority and the football club is key. That there is a relationship. We are the advisory group for the new stadium. That every safe. Everything is done to the law. That's what we see at this moment in time. We don't be in your pockets. You don't want us to be in your pockets. We want an arm's length approach that allows you to breathe, live, grow. And as you know, the planning permission was 9,000 going up to 20,000. Obviously, when you decide to make that next step, you need to come back to the local authority and have that discussion. It is a strong relationship. It goes to that apology I made to the club back in 2010 when I became lead about what happened in bad days. And I did say that the council was partly at fault in what happened. We moved on from there, and the relationship was so honest with each other that I think go from strength to strength. The relationship needs to be based on no prizes for each other, and so far there are no surprise, and that's why you're going at speed and to open your new stadium.
I'm afraid it's not the best sound, so I do apologise. I think we can more or less make out most of what you said, but the sound is not crystal clear. And let's see, have we got any other further questions that are coming in on the Q&A?
I've posted one in to Stephen to follow up on regards to, yeah, I'll let Stephen answer. He's seen the question.
Okay.
So yeah, so Stephen, the question that's in the chat now is about, yeah, so Stephen, the question in the chat is about the idea of a permanent display in central Wimbledon. So how we kind of get people who apparently still don't know about the club to get engaged, and is there something that we could do with the council to make that kind of happen?
So did you come in on volunteering? So yes, volunteering is very important. The council prides itself on a great partnership with Burton Voluntary Service Council, and if you see all our library open, that's based primarily a relationship between full-time staff and volunteers. So volunteer element is very important, council, and the club add to that. You are volunteering, you kind of professionalised volunteering. There are volunteers who want to be volunteers. So just as in charitable too now, Charitos, there are volunteers. So AFC Wimbledon is a model for volunteering, and the government through the dinner office does encourage volunteering. I think it is the future. It's to be based on worthiness and ability and respect of the volunteer, so that they do as much as they can, not overloaded. What I see at FC Wimbledon when I go to matches is that volunteers are too keen to there to be picked for duties, look forward to their duties. As you go into a bigger club, a professional clubs in the championship, you will need to look at it, know about that. It'll still be a huge element of the club. The club is run. If you lose that element, you will lose the heart of the club. But you will have to start to look at the balance between full-time staff volunteers, because there are certain laws as you grow that need to be ticked off. But at this point in time, it's working perfectly in terms of having the volunteer element with the council.
Stephen, a question to you. Do you think Wimbledon is seen, do you think AFC Wimbledon is seen as more than a football club? And would you be happy to see AFC Wimbledon to be seen more than a football club? Barcelona have that famous phrase, you know, I think me que un club in Spanish. They are more than a club. Can you hear me, Stephen?
I don't think he can. So I'm going to, Stephen, I'll type you in. I'll type in the question. Stephen, I'll type you the question. And then, Zav, if you want to come in and answer some of the DLAG ones that are in the Q&A, that would be really cool. Can you see them, Zav, or do you want me to read you one out?
Yeah, do you want to read them anyway for the audience, and then I'll...
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So let's start at there is second one from Olivia Cross. I'll just read it. So another question from me, so I'll find your other question in a second. Is there an opportunity to push the actions being taken by the Dons Local Action Group back on the government, in the context that it appears the government is relying on groups like the Dons Local Action Group to protect and support their community? So that, I guess, is this idea that the government is taking advantage of community groups and how you might get support or from the government. I guess that's what it's talking about.
I mean, we do talk to a number of people locally in, you know, Siobhan McDonough. We've got a very, very close relationship with. In fact, she instigated the whole Keep Kids Connected thing. She called me back, I think it was probably late March, early April, and talked about a specific place in Mitcham that needed help with laptops and devices because there was none of the kids were connected at all. So, and ongoing since then, she's very involved with the Fresh Food Bank, which is really trying to get clearly fresh food out to those that need it. Food banks historically haven't done that much fresh food. So yeah, we're working with government. I think definitely one of the big things that that we should be doing very soon. As soon as we've integrated ourselves fully with the AFC Wimbledon Foundation, when we've completed our processes and done quite a lot of the housekeeping over the next couple of weeks, I'd certainly like to be out there, and other people at Don's Local Action out there with the politicians in the 3 boroughs, and see how we can operate better, closer to them. But so far, no, we've Wandsworth, Merton, and Kingston, we've had a really good, there's been a really good dialogue, and it kind of brings in some of your other questions, one of the other questions as well, where we talk about working with existing volunteer groups in the boroughs and being careful not to take resource away from them. I think we're really conscious that we want to, if we did nothing direct at all and just supported existing charities and volunteer groups, we'd be delighted. But we kind of do a mix. We do our own direct activity that is Don's Local Action stuff, and then we work with lots and lots of groups. In fact, we're just finalising the list at the moment, and it looks like we're working with about 150 partner groups in the 3 boroughs. That could be Wimbledon Food Bank, Wandsworth Food Bank, or Monday. I know now they will be packing the van, and there will be a couple of vans packed full of food going out to Wimbledon Food Bank. That's what happens on a Monday. And we're working with, we've been referred people from the Prostate Society, from the Alzheimer's Society, Age UK, refuges, homeless charities. There's a lot of, we need to work with them.
So Zab, just following on from that, because there's lots of questions in the Q&A that sort of relate to how the volunteers work within the community. There's a thing about, like, you talked a little bit about the possible integration with the foundation, and then there's this idea of integrating. So Oliver asked, I keep saying Olivia, Oliver asked.
Ollie Cross, yeah, he's a dealer.
Sorry.
Yeah. Hi, Ollie.
Sorry, he asked about integrating with sporting activities into the community, and I think we all agree that really is what engages kids, that team getting together. I think Stephen also wants to answer probably that as well. Yeah. So Zab, do you want to go first quickly on this idea of integrate? How do the volunteers integrate with the sporting activities?
We would just like to bolster the activity that the foundation are doing, because they're doing some fantastic work. So if we've got coaches amongst DLAG, if we can, we've been supporting the summer camps that the foundation have been doing as well. So we're working really closely with the foundations. When it comes to sport, they lead the way, absolutely, and we just support what they do and hopefully help them do more of it, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't hear about as Wimbledon fans, and I think the foundation work should be applauded. Actually, they're really growing in terms of support.
Okay, so Stephen's got some questions from the chat, which is really more around how the borough works closely with the club. And so there's questions like, how important is the club to the borough? What else could we do for Merton? And how can the council and club help modern Wimbledon residents learn about the history of Wimbledon?
So take from that, just make sure I'm on the right ones, is it important to us that AFC is not a club? Yes, it's because there are residents who are football fans. Question the council's commitment to them in terms of its planning approach, in terms of the way which the council party, all parties, has welcomed the borough. It's crucial you are more football club, and the Don's Local Action Group helps in that regard. What does the council want to see from the club? We want to see you go from strength to strength. We want to see you succeed, but at the same time commit to community, work with the community on problem now. Be team friends, but see those. But let's not forget there's a football club there. There was a football club there before transport was better, and so we should be okay there. We will work with you to persuade residents that having a football club on doorstep is good. I mean, we do position to the All England tennis. Our residents who buy a property near the All England Tennis Championship and then question the championship shows that fortnight. And there will be residents who know the club coming back. We've all known the come back, will have concerns. We need to address those concerns. We need to listen to those concerns, and you can see that the council and the club will work together to address those concerns. There will be hopefully a resolution to those issues. But for me, as someone who grew along Stevenage Road, Fulham Palace Road, 2 minutes to Craven Cottage, it's so exciting to have a football club at your doorstep, and that's what I want to see from Wimbledon. That they feel excited for every resident, especially those living close by.
Great, thanks. So Zav, there was another question that came in just because sorry, Dominic, I'm just jumping on the Q&A.
Yeah, no, please do.
There was one, so thanks, Stephen. I know that I think the recording hopefully will get a lot of that. It's coming through okay for me, but I know it's quite hard to follow, but that was great. So Zav, there's a question about, from Jane Lonsdale saying, are you now planning to come under the foundation rather than as a separate charity? That would make sense to me, as the foundation have been doing great work in the community for a number of years, which of course they definitely have. Coaching in schools, Saturday mornings in Wimbledon Park. They've been doing food bank things as well, other education stuff. So yeah, the question is, are you thinking of planning to be under the foundation?
Yeah, no, good, categorically. Initially we, for whatever reason, we just kind of, we didn't think, I think in the first few weeks, we were thinking, right, we'll set up as a registered charity ourselves. And then just the penny dropped. Why would we need to do that? You know, so we've been working with the foundation over the last few weeks to get ourselves in shape to fall under them, because clearly they're guided by the Charities Commission. So we've got to make sure that all our processes and our housekeeping are absolutely in line with what the Charities Commission and what the foundation trustees will be comfortable with. So we're working on that. In fact, we're preparing and presenting our documents this week, and hopefully we'll get sign off fairly soon after that. But we want to support the work that the foundation's doing. We want to add to the support. We want to help them offer more support in the communities, and we're already doing that. We're already doing a lot with them, a lot of initiatives with them. So yeah, that's absolutely, we would be the volunteer army of the foundation.
If I can just ask a quick question on match day, do you see DLAG having a present on a match day? Obviously a year ago DLAG did not exist, and here we are, with the fantastic achievement that you've done. I'm just thinking from a match day on a Saturday when the fans arrive, do you see DLAG having a presence and getting through to the fans?
I really hope so. I think, you know, we will have an ongoing, there's a number of different ways that match day would help DLAG, but and hopefully DLAG would help the club, but we we always want volunteers. We've got a captive audience. We're going to be averaging, we're going to be once stadium are full again, we're going to be getting a lot of people in that ground, and we want to keep pressing home the message that, you know, we just want to create an ethos that Wimbledon fans and actually players and staff and everyone involved with the football club thinks it's just what I do. I do some volunteering in the community with DLAG to help our community, because this whole, if you whittle all of this back down to the basics, you know, just think about what we're doing outside a shop. You know, a person is going in to do their weekly shopping, and they're putting a couple of extra things on, if they can, to help the people in the community, right? So that's its very rawest form. We're just doing what we can to make our communities better places, because for whatever reason, our communities do need that sort of support. So we need to make sure that the football club is, you know, that we're constantly, that people are constantly aware that we would just like 3 hours of their time, 6 hours of their time, whatever it is. And and also not directly relevant to that question, but one of the big things that we're also trying to do is improve the lives of the volunteers if we can. There's been a lot of people that have said that they would really have struggled during lockdown without going out and doing the work for Don's Local Action. And there's been some, so we, there are younger people in our group who are having the same struggles as society are having with work and being made redundant, or their sectors suddenly disappearing overnight. If they've got to go on a job hunt, we will have people, for example, within Don's Local Action that can help them apply, help them with their CVs, make sure that they're shipshape. We can mentor them and help them get back into the workplace. I'm pretty passionate about helping our people, as well as the communities. Perhaps a DLAG booth then, perhaps alongside the Don's Trust booth. I think it's, we're just one club. That's it. I don't want to confuse anybody with the foundation, or with the trust, or with the club itself. We're one club. We're just we want us to be as logical to people as possible, and that's another reason why we're coming under the foundation banner, rather than we've got our brand. Don's Local Action exists as a brand. Foundation exists as a brand, but we're one and the same, in my view. Can I just touch upon environmental issues? Now, the society at large is aware of Extinction Rebellion, and a lot of young people are very concerned about environmental, planet, global warming. Do you see DLAG at all possibly looking at that, or getting the youth involved in any of that as part of a community thing? Because of course the weather would affect the community. Again, I know you've got a lot on your plate, you've done so much, to throw in an environmental issue, and should the club perhaps be involved in that, or DLAG could be involved in that? Environment and surroundings is our second pillar. Right, so far within that pillar, we've really focused on furniture poverty, I guess, digital poverty, food poverty, furniture poverty. But I have got, we have talked internally about, if the River Wandle needs a clear up, well, we can get 50 DLAG people down on a Sunday for 3 hours to clear it up, right? Or if parts needed, I think we're as good as the volunteers that we have. And if there is inclination within the volunteer base to do stuff like that, then we'll make it happen. Yeah, no, that's great, because I think, perhaps a lot of people see your work involved in the food banks, but this is wonderful to hear that, cleaning up the Wandle, getting involved with, in those type of issues, environmental issues. So, that's terrific, because I think that, that is an issue or a concern that a lot of young people have. A lot, if you go to the schools, this is what, and of course we want to build upon that if we can.
Just on a random thing to jump in on that, just because so Pokemon Go they've had a thing where they've done a series of stuff where it's cleaning up beaches, and some companies have worked to gamify, like make games a bit more serious, and they've seen huge volunteer armies just appear out of nowhere to clean up beaches and things like that. And so there is definitely a demand from young people. You just got to you hook them in through catching Pokemon, and suddenly they're clearing up beaches. So I'm sure we can do stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. Love that idea. Yeah, it's just great to see the football club really getting involved in community issues. This is it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see, and if we can catch fire, my mission is to get that message across that the club is look at what DLAG is doing, look at what the foundation is doing. And that's the challenge I think we've got. Of course, we've got challenges on the football. Let's not forget about that on the football field as well. But it's try all of that action. It just permeates the community.
Yeah.
I think there's one more question in the Q&A, which I think crosses both. So maybe Niall can type this in for Stephen on the chat just while I read it out, and maybe Zav can have a go at it first. But it says that obviously, you know, the foundation, those various things, we know they've been doing a lot already. And those of us who are aware, and like Dominic says, is that there is a little bit of a tension that not everyone is aware of how much we have been doing, and we've got work to do on that for sure. But, you know, so the question is from Greg is like, they already do so much, but what more could they do and how? So that kind of crosses, you know, both, I think. What does the borough really need? And what do you think, what do the volunteers really want to do, I guess? So Zab, do you want to have a go at that first, of what you think we could do more of and how we do it?
We just want to reach as many people that need our support as possible. That's our, sorry, that's a real platitude, I guess, but that's what we want to do. So we need the community. None of this is possible without the community's support. All right. So there's an incredible amount of food and devices that are passing through us, but it's yeah. Stephen, that's really, you know, what do you think? What would you think that we can do more of as a volunteer?
Okay, I'm trying to bring Stephen in on that. Hopefully he get it. Yeah.
So in terms of my view, and I'm sorry, there's a lot of background noise. I'm in an airport lounge. What does the council want the club? I think it's about message about the importance of physical activity, and you do that as a football club in League One, football based on physical activity. We've seen from COVID-19 of in which it does disproportionately affect those people who are overweight, obese. So you're active on summer camps, being helped. What we want you to do is to send a message about the importance of physical activity, not just in a football match, but in the lead-up football, our group gyms, and your club and the foundation, getting the message out, the importance of physical activity in our schools, in our communities.
Okay, brilliant. So, I mean, we've got that, Stephen. So it's about the obviously being physically active and fit is important for everyone. And if the foundation and others can continue to encourage that, would be good. There's one other question, and we've got almost like 6 minutes left. And this one, I think, it seems quite important. And Sav, this is aimed directly at the Don's Local Action Group. So it says, volunteer army is being used to describe the Don's Local Action Group, which is great, and it's definitely the strength. There are so many local people ready to give time to enhance our community, so that's a real positive, obviously. But the follow-up is, however, even more frequently, it seems that a handful of paid Don's Local Action Group workers are still being called volunteers, and there doesn't seem to be much transparency about this. Could you provide some clarification on who and what their roles are? So I don't know what you can and can't say, but obviously that's the question. So.
No, there are a couple of full-time staff at Don's Local Action, and we'd like to increase that. We might need to increase that, but chicken and egg with fundraising. We've, you know, the logistical work that is undertaken just to do basics like collecting food from the supermarkets, taking it back to the hub, making sure that all of the partners are being spoken to and that we're taking stuff to the right place on the right day and things. There's a lot of logistics, and it can't operate at the scale that it now is without some full-time help. So I think going forward, ideally, the vision is that we'd like to increase that, like any normal charity would. So yeah, we've got a couple at the moment. Ideally we'd like a lot more, but certainly in the future, the more resource we have, the more support we're going to be able to offer.
Great. I think there's another follow-up to that, just about looking out to get experts to help in terms of like outreach for DLAG. So like, you know, whether that's fundraising, environmental experts, those kind of people. So obviously the people on the ground are really important, who are doing the physical deliveries and whatever. you know, but there is obviously, like you've just outlined, some things are quite logistical and need people, and some of those people will have to be paid appropriately, and other people might actually volunteer their time to do those activities. So, I mean, is that something that you're looking for as it kind of expands?
We've not really discussed as a leadership group yet, because we're very focused on getting our processes sorted so that we can, so quickly as possible, fit within the foundation. We've not really discussed what the next roles would be, but I mean, you know, it is incredible what a body of volunteers can do. We've you know, when we created the fundraising team, again, there was a shout out. 15 people came back, said yes, please, we'd like to help with fundraising. 10 of them had either they were currently working for charities in fundraising, or had done. So 10 of the 15 had proper experience that they could bring to the table. So there's a lot of experience there already.
Okay, I see. We've got approximately 3 to 4 minutes left. So I don't know if there's any further Q&As that come in, Adam.
No, nothing more on the Q&A now. So I think it's kind of, if people want to wrap up with anything, or if there's any final pressing things they thought we should have said, then now's the chance to give your 30-second pitch for the borough and for volunteering, I guess.
Sorry, Adam. Yeah, right. Okay. No, just it comes back to the whatever people can help with. The better. Yeah, we need a lot more volunteers. We want to make sure that we're staffing as many shifts as possible. You know, 2 months ago we were staffing every single shift at every single superstore. We're not now. We'd love to be making sure that we are. So we just need more volunteers. So anybody, just have a think. It doesn't, even if it's phone work, if it's driving, if it's an hour here, if it's 2 hours there, we just need as much help as possible.
Stephen, if you'd like to perhaps give a final comment on what you feel the relationship between Merton Council and AFC Wimbledon will be going forward.
He's frozen now on the airport Wi-Fi.
Has he frozen out?
Well, I pressed ask to unmute and he's not moving. So that, and the footballers in the background are not doing anything either.
Right. Well, I just look forward to seeing DLAG at the stadium, and for them to have that future presence.
We're nearly at the end, so thank you for inviting me. It's been great. Just keep going from strength to strength is my advice to the club, and you should be very, very proud of the Dons Local Action Group. It has made you more than a club, more than a football club.
It certainly has. I think that's on that sentiment. I cannot think of a better sentiment yet. DLAG has made us much more. It's put us on the map, I believe, of making us more than a football club. I'm hearing this word movement, but no, we're all of that. We're a community football club moving forward as a movement with football and an ethos, a fans ownership ethos. That is absolutely unique and brilliant.
Good stuff.
Yeah, cool. So look, I'm just going to wrap up because I know we've had some internet problems here, not just Stephen from what I can tell. And it was all a bit, like I said, we had to have a shuffle at the end. So Dominic, thanks again so much for dropping in as a chair at the last minute. It
was at the last minute. I was a little bit unprepared, but now I think I've struggled through this.
So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and Zav and Stephen, thanks for your time. And thanks for contributing to this. I know that Niall will put the recording online. Niall will have made some notes, and we're going to think about how that helps us to push forward, as we've sort of outlined there, a bit more than a club, and to support things like the Dons Local Action Group. And hopefully you'll get some more volunteers helping out and continuing to help out as we sort of move back into the borough, which is going to be amazing. So yeah, thank you all for your time. I'm going to press the end meeting button.
Okay, thank you very much.
So everyone will disappear. Thanks
Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Cheers all. Have a good evening.
All the best.
You too.
Good evening.
Bye.